Welcome to the Nathan.net. In this video, I'm going to go over my Ansible Yum update script, or playbook actually is what it is. And I have two virtual machines started up right now, and this is why I've written this, is because I wanted to keep these CentOS virtual machines up to date, and I don't always have them running, so I couldn't just do the cron job. So in this case, I could start them up and run this, and then walk away, and they'll just patch them. So I wanted to start off by running this because it's going to take a little bit. One I've already done just to kind of demonstrate that you could do two of them, but I'm going to do a limit to CentOS, which is a group in my inventory, and I am going to also give it the playbook. So once this starts here, we'll go to a different tab and I'll start covering everything that is in this playbook. One thing I added, because it is rebooting and because it's default host all, so you limit by using the limit option in playbook command with the -L in this case, so that limited it to the CentOS group. But it will prompt for yes or no if you want to continue when it gets to the actual playbook that does updates. So I have this playbook including multiple other playbooks, and as soon as it gets done prompting me, we'll go over that, and then we can always come back to this part of it. And you can see I have server 1 and server 2. So it looks like it is skipping on server 1. Well, while this goes, this is kind of boring to watch, we'll come back to it. So I'll open up a new tab, and let's view. Let's just do VI. And continue where I left off. Alright, so now we're at the very top of this. We'll come back to this import playbook, but what this does is, the reason in here, there's some packages that I want to make sure are installed. Just because I'm calling some commands with the shell. I think it needs restarting, so I just wanted to make sure that was installed. So let's go through. I have a default host to all, so you can limit with the Ansible Limit command, which is the way I prefer to do it, just because when I include other playbooks and stuff, I can limit it. And you can't call it limit host, but in this environment, that's the way I like to do it. Serial equals 1. Now, if this was like, say, a production environment where you had multiple servers, you may want to limit this serial to something else, just because you wouldn't want to, for example, reboot all of them at the same time. I have it set to 1 just because it's slow disk, a single disk that I'm actually even recording this on right now. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't just kill my workstation here by trying to update multiples. The any error is fatal, yes, so that's important, and that's because of the confirmation that I have below, and also because if, for example, it was like a production or even a test environment with multiple systems, then I want it to, either the check that's in here or the reboot or anything fails, I want it to just stop right there. I don't want it to keep going. Here, it's my prompt now, and all caps yes, and it's going to keep going, and it's going to start checking server 1. So let's go through what this part is doing now. This is the confirmation, and the variable is confirmation, and you can pass the, I could show that next, the -E confirmation equals yes, and that will not prompt you. But this is just asking the prompt. The default is no, so if you put enter, then it will just exit out because it will do an error. And then the private no, so the private is if you want it to log or not, and so if you're asking for a password or something that you don't want logged, you tell it yes. But no, I don't care. Actually, it's probably good if it's logged. So this is the first task in here, and it's the first thing it's going to do is check for confirmation, and it's putting the message there on fail, and if it does not equal yes. So if that variable equals no, it'll print the fail and exit. The next thing I have in here is the actual update piece of it, and I wanted to start playing with 8, so I put some DNF stuff in there, and I'll probably even add this to my Fedora. So because right now it's looking for RedHat based and then distribution major version 20, I think I'd have to change that for Fedora. Just do an include, like an and. But this is going to be anything greater than version 8. It's going to use DNF. And I don't have anything below that, but you can see it's going to use yum. And it's just any package, it's going to make sure the latest. So this is the equivalent of running a yum update. And this is for 7 and below. So the next thing, after it does the update, which we're probably to right now, yep, this is on server 2, it's going to take a little bit. But after the updates run, it runs the needs restarting -r. And this tells you if it'll print information like if there's a kernel update or glibc, or just tells you if there's something that was updated that you probably should reboot for. And it will exit with 0 if it doesn't need rebooting, and it'll exit with 1 if it does need rebooting. So I have it ignore errors just because it prints out a lot of data. And changed when false. So this is when it does a 1, it will say change because it needs rebooting. And then the failed one, just because I was printing out a bunch of errors, I had it take the registered, so it sets that, all the output to registered required, and then the $RC is the return value, and I didn't want it failing when it was equal to 1, because that just means it needs reboot, so I put it equal to 2, which I don't even think that exit status exists with needs restarting, but it doesn't matter, because I'm looking for either a 1 or 2 in this case, or a 0 or 1. I don't care about 2. If it ever does get a 2, it's going to fail, so... But this should always either exit 0 or 1. And if it does a kernel, it should exit 1. And that's an expected exit status, so we didn't want the whole playbook to fail right there. So this is when it does 7. I need to take a look at 8 to make sure that all the paths are the same, so that's why I have that in there. I'll update that once I start playing with 8, and also when I start doing Fedora. The next thing is rebooting, and this is a module that was added in the newer versions of Ansible, and it makes it much nicer. So you just tell it reboot, and then post delay, it's going to wait, in this case, 60 seconds before it goes out and tries to reconnect after rebooting. So the throttle equals 1. So this is kind of, it adds to the serial equals 1. This will make sure that only 1 is rebooted at a time. And then the when. So this is only when the return code equals 1, so it needs rebooting. And I also put on here virtualization role does not equal host. So my workstation, I didn't want it rebooting with Ansible because that's where I'm running Ansible from, and that wouldn't work. It would just reboot right here and none of the rest of the playbook would run. So it won't reboot the host, which is my workstation in this case. And you could do host names and things like that there just to make sure your Ansible server, if it's ran on localhost, it doesn't reboot it accidentally. And this is a Mint, so it probably wouldn't even do the update to reboot. And I don't think the needs rebooting or needs restarting is even on here. I'd have to check. And then I have a debug, and this just prints the RC code. And when you add the verbosity equals 2, so add 2 V's to the command, and it will print that debug statement out also. So this is after the reboot, and it does the uptime after it comes back up, and it reconnects as part of this reboot module without having to do very much there. So it'll take the uptime, but it'll only do it when it's rebooted. If it's not rebooted, we don't care about the uptime because it should be whatever it was before we started. And this is just kind of thing, just to print the uptime as a debug message, just to say like, yep, we rebooted and here's the uptime. That's what it should be. It should be, minutes and not days. The next thing is, this is not doing anything, but I just put this in here as an example. And what this does is this is wait for 443. So this is going to actually do a check when when web is in the host name. It will wait 60 seconds and then it'll do a check to see if 443 is open or listening. So for example, if this was a web server, it would check to see if the web server is up before moving on to the next. And you could do this with multiple types of applications and ports, and you could do URL checks also if you want to get more, I guess, robust about it. But let's go take a look at the standard packages YAML. I'll just type it out. So this is included in here, and you can see there is another import playbook, which is enable EPEL. So what this one does is it is not gathering facts because, and I should have covered that on one. The other one does not gathering facts because it's in this one, and you only have to do it in the one place. So if I run this as just a one-off, it'll run this playbook first. So, and then here's where I have basically a list of packages for 6. I don't have any 6 right now, and 7. So it's going to make sure that this is just my standard package list after I do an install of stuff that I want installed on like a server in this case, or CentOS. I guess it is a server. VM. So, and then the yum utils, which should be there, that's actually what provides the reboot. And then like this one, it needs the EPEL, so that's why I have the EPEL.yaml. Let's go take a look at that. So this one is not importing any of the playbooks, but it is gathering the facts. After I do an install, I could run this one first, or I could wait to actually just run the standard packages, and it will run this one because it's included. And I could have put this all in the standard packages, but I wanted to break it out so in the future I can actually do more, because this is only going to run if it's RedHat, so I can have the equivalent for a Debian-based system. But what this is using, if it's 8, it's using DNF, and it's making sure that EPEL release is the latest, and that's basically when it's a Red Hat based distribution, 8 or greater. And this is on 7. It is doing only on 7 because I don't think this way works on 6. But I don't have any CentOS 6 boxes since it's pretty old at this point. So let's quit out of here and let's go back to see where this is. And it is skipping that, so it is still doing the yum update. So what we could do is we'll just... Oh, before I forget, let me show you. That's a check. Minus E. I should have it in my history here. There it is. So if you don't want it to prompt, you can pass it an environment variable, which is confirmation equals yes. So this will run it on that one server without prompting. But let's SSH server 2, since that's what it's updating. And we could just tell it a yum log. And if we just do a tell minus F, see what it's doing. It's taking a little bit on this one. You can see it's updated 2 packages already, but this is since I don't have a lot of CentOS based servers, I don't have a local repo set up here, and I'm just going out and pulling from the public CentOS yum repos. Plus this is also slow disk, so it's not the fastest thing, and it's been a while since this has been updated, since I did this as an old snapshot of the system. I can say it's in the kernel and stuff, but we'll just come back over here. And I'll speed this part up and we'll come back when it's completed. Alright, you can see that it just updated it, and reboot required is green because that came back with the exit status of 1. So now it's rebooting, and it's going to take that, or wait that 60 seconds before it tries to reconnect. You can see that I was telling the log it just disconnected me when it was done. And it's already up, but I have it waiting 60 seconds. Oh, it's already finished. So you can see here that when it was done rebooting, it did an uptime and shows what's changed. It doesn't show the packages. You have to go to yumlog for that. So let's run this again with the -e option. Let me see what the... Let's run this on CentOS. So bus servers. And now it's going to run these playbooks without prompting me. And you can see that this finished. So it actually didn't change anything because there was nothing to be updated. The as is playbooks will be on the nathan.net website. Link will be in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Bye.